Hey friends, welcome back to the cabin, and today we're going to be making Scuppernong Jelly without pectin. A couple days ago, I was gifted a flat of Scuppernong grapes from some very sweet neighbors that I get a chance to share some eggs with from time to time. Now, Scuppernongs are in the muscadine family, and muscadines are a southern grape, but one of the hallmarks of Scuppernongs is the wonderful fragrance that the grapes themselves give off. So when we start cooking them down, it fills the house up with such a pleasant smell. And that's one of the things that I love about canning anyway, is those different aromas and homey smells that the cabin just kind of gets filled up with. This is actually a 2-day process for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through what I did yesterday, and then we'll pick up where I left off, and I'll show you the next steps as we finish processing and getting them in the water bath canner and making that beautiful jelly. A couple of more points about the Scuppernongs is they do range in color when they're ripe, from a chartreuse green all the way down to a beautiful bronze color. But one thing about the muscadine family, in particular the Scuppernongs, is the thickness of their skin, and we'll talk about that here in just a bit and why that's important when we're processing this. After I sorted and rinsed the grapes, I measured and I ended up with 20 cups of good grapes. You're going to start with a good size heavy stainless steel stock pot, or with a heavy, larger enamel Dutch oven. Just make sure that the enamel is in good shape on the inside and not chipped away, because you don't want the grapes to come into contact with the cast iron. You're going to add your grapes to this Dutch oven or to your stock pot, and then you're going to add a cup of water. Now, the next thing that we need to do is we need to rupture the skins on the grapes. Now, just a bit ago we talked about the thickness of those skins. So what we want to do is to rupture them, and that's going to help the pulp to go ahead and spill out and be able to release its juices. But with the thick skins, it's a little bit harder. So there's a couple of ways that I do it. My favorite is to actually take my hands and cup them so that the pulp doesn't fly all over the kitchen, but cup them and just squeeze, and it will actually bust the skins open and release the pulp. But if you're a little bit squeamish or you're not comfortable doing that, you can certainly take something like a potato masher and a little bit of elbow grease, and you can work those skins or rupture those skins that way. Now, I do that a good bit before I turn the heat on, and then I will turn the flame on high underneath, but I will continue, regardless of which method I used, I'll continue to use the potato masher and still work on some that I might have missed while the heat is heating the juice and the pulp and everything up. Now, we want to bring it up to a boil, but then we're going to immediately turn it down to a simmer, and we're going to simmer for 20 minutes. You really don't want to go any longer than that, because overcooking them can cause your juice to become cloudy. Now, our next step is to strain the juice from the pulp. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a large bowl, and we're going to take the workhorse of my kitchen, and that's my flour sack towels. We're going to take a full-size flour sack towel, and we're going to put the pulp over into that. But before we do that, we're going to wet that flour sack towel and wring it out good and let it be damp. And the reason that we're doing that is that when it's damp, the juice will more readily pour out. It's not going to soak into your towel because your towel is already soaked with water. So you're going to extract more juice that way. Even if it's a tiny bit, it's still juice for your jelly and not to be wasted in the rack or in the towel. So now that we have our pulp in our lined bowl, I'm going to move all of this over to my kitchen table, because I have a place over there where I can hang things. and we're gonna tie up the corners, and then we're gonna hang the pulp suspended over the bowl. And you can do this overnight. I would say a minimum of 8 hours. So that's why I planned to all of this yesterday evening so that it could do it overnight, and then today I could finish out the processing. But we're gonna leave it to drip overnight to extract the maximum amount of juice from those grapes. But now here's what you don't do. You don't squeeze it. And it's so tempting, I know. But if you squeeze the juice, you're gonna make your jelly cloudy. So we don't want that. We want the prettiest jelly that we can make, as clear as we can make it. So practice that patience and just let it drip slowly overnight, and in the morning you can pick up where we left off, and that's where I'll join you back in just a second. So through the magic of video, we're on day 2, and now it's time to measure out our juice. Now I actually ended up with almost 8 cups. So I added just a tiny bit of distilled water to go ahead and bring my amount up to 8 cups, and that way my recipe wouldn't have to be altered in any way. So I've got 8 cups of juice, and to the 8 cups of juice, we're gonna add 3 cups of sugar. And then we're gonna add the juice of 1 lemon. So that brings us to the live video, which is right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this lid off. And one thing that I forgot to do, and it's not a problem because I haven't turned on the flame yet, is I do need to add just a pinch, a tiny pinch of cannon salt. Not maybe an 1/8 of a teaspoon to this, but it's really just a pinch, okay? So now we're gonna turn the flame on. And I'm gonna bring it up to a boil, but then I'm gonna slow it down just a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and stir this. It's got the sugar, the lemon juice, and the salt in it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and cook this down slowly until we reach the right temperature that it gels on its own without pectin. Since we're not using pectin, it's very important that we have a way to know when we have reached the jelly stage. Now my preferred method is to use a candy thermometer. Now there are probably tons of videos on YouTube that show you how you can use the freezer method, which is using a plate that's set in the freezer, and you dribble some of your juice or some of your jelly on there to see if it's going to be firm enough to hold up in the jar. I prefer the candy thermometer. But one reason why that I wanted to do this without pectin is because we need to know how to do things before there were modern conveniences like boxed pectin. And so this is the way that our great-grandmothers and even before would have made jelly. Now I do have a way to make homemade pectin, and I may venture off in that and film that for you one day, and it's made with apples. But for the sake of this video, we're going to show you how to do it without pectin. I'm all about learning those old skills to fall back on. You never know when you might need them, and it's just a fun way to do things. I really prefer the old way. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue cooking this down. Now you don't have to stir it constantly. I'm just talking to you and gently stirring. It's not boiling yet, so I'll turn it down once it gets to that boil, down to the simmer. But you don't have to stay right here on top of it. I've got a few things that I need to do right around here, but I'll be close so I can check on it, keep a close eye on it, but you don't have to stand over it the whole time. It should take about 30 minutes to get to 220 degrees. That would be the jelly stage. Okay, so I'm gonna tend to this for a little bit, and I'll be back when we get closer to that jelly stage. Well, we have reached the jelly point of 220 degrees, so it's time to jar up our jelly. Let's get this beautiful juice poured up. It did reach 220 degrees, which is the gelling point. And the volume reduced quite a bit, so I may not get but 3 or 4 jars. But I will be perfectly happy with that because it was a gift from a friend. And this winter, when we open a jar of this or I gift a jar to somebody special, it'll be worth it. Okay, so we're going to get to what we're looking for is a 1/4 inch of headspace because this is jelly. And you can have a very minimal headspace with jelly. So this funnel has markings that really helps. Okay, there we go. That's our 1/4 inch, give or take. All right, so one thing we always do is we clean off the rim. Now when you wash your jars and when you clean the rim, this is hot, so I'm gonna be very careful. You wanna always check for nicks and cracks along this edge because that will cause a seal failure. And we don't want that, so, okay. And I had my lids on the back in warm water. Three fingers tight. And in the canner. So I'll do one more, just to show you the process. With 4 half pints, and we started out, remember, with 8 cups of juice and 3 cups of sugar, so that was 11 cups total volume plus the little bit of volume from the lemon juice. But we cooked it down. We were trying to release the pectin as well that was in that juice, so we cooked it down, and the volume, of course, decreased more than it would if you used box pectin, because box pectin, you're actually adding pectin. We're extracting pectin from what we already have. So the volume will decrease more because when you use commercial pectin, you only boil it for a minute and then you pour it up in your jars. Well, we did it the old-fashioned way, so we ended up with less in volume, but it's clean, chemical-free, and you're learning a skill. In the future, if you don't have access to pectin, there are some fruits that, a good many fruits, that you can jelly or jam without pectin. So I'm about to set this rack down in there. The water is simmering. It only processes for 5 minutes at a full rolling boil, but we're gonna go ahead and set this rack down in there, and then we'll start timing. And I'm also gonna show you some interesting things that I've got going on right here to kind of explain the process a little bit more. So let's get this rack down in there. That's pretty warm. Now we want the water to cover, I like for it to cover a good 1.5 to 2 inches. So we've got our rack down in there, our lid is on, it's simmering. I'm gonna keep checking it every few minutes. It shouldn't take it long. When it reaches that full rolling boil, then we're gonna time for just 5 minutes, that's all. So I'm gonna show you a couple of things to let you know that we were successful in reaching the jelly stage. Now, you're looking down in the pot and you can see some residue in the corner, but first of all, let's see if I can get down here where you can see it. I want to show you this little bit that is on this spoon. That is the juice that we started with, and you can tell that it's jelly, and I scraped this out of my ladle. If you'll look down in here, look at that. That's jelly. You see that we cooked it to the jelly stage. Just perfect. No pectin. So you can do so much without having to go to the store and buy things. You can learn some skills that will actually carry you through times when you can't get to the store, or times are bad, or just lots of different reasons. Well, the timer just went off, so it's been 5 minutes. So we're going to turn the flame off, and I'm going to take the lid off. Now, I got to find a place to set it, but I'm not going to do anything for another 5 or 10 minutes. I'm going to let the temperature kind of equalize inside the canner and outside, so I'll be right back. Okay, so we can go ahead and get those jars out now. It's been about 10 minutes, but real quick I want to show you something. We were talking about the gel, and this was a little bit that I poured up out of the pot after I got my jars filled. And let's see if you can see it. Look. That's what we're looking for now. It tried to roll just a little bit in the bowl, which means it's not gelled too much. There's still a little bit of movement to it. We don't want it brick hard. We want it spreadable. So this was successful, but let's get those jars out. Look how beautiful. I'm so tickled. What a priceless gift neighbors are. Now, oh, you heard that ping. We love that ping. Us canners love to hear that ping. Oh, wow, that was quick. All right, and here's number 4. Look, oh, they're so pretty. Wow. Now, they're not quite that dark. That's the lighting on the camera. They're not quite that dark. They're more of a bronze color. Wow. That was a good ping. That was a good ping. Okay, so I adjusted the light on my camera just a little bit. So let's see if I can get you a better or truer view of the color of it. It's more of a bronze. The other looked a little brown, but this is the truer color, and they are gorgeous. With it being Scuppernong season here in the South, I hope that you get a chance to try this. Get your hands on some Scuppernongs and try making your jelly without pectin. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how easy it is. Now, one thing that I mentioned earlier that I do want to clarify is that I said it would take about 30 minutes to reach actually the jelly point. There are a lot of variables in that. They can make it be a little bit shorter or make it be longer. So don't give up and don't get discouraged if you go 45 minutes. If you go an hour, just stay with the process, because it's going to make jelly if you've got the right ratio of juice and sugar. And you do have to add the lemon juice, because especially in this case, the lemon juice, and I can't remember the chemistry of it, but does have something to do with the pectin releasing or actually solidifying properly. So don't leave your lemon juice out either. So all of those work together. But I had a blast doing this and bringing you along, and I love to do things that help me to look well to the ways of my household. But I want to remind you of something as well. Don't ever forget that your Heavenly Father loves you. And I'll see you on the next video. God bless.